I wanted to make a video because I know so many people have called and have sent me text messages and emails concerning Lily, and I felt like I really wanted to give you guys the respect to hear all the details, and I just don't have time to call and tell everybody everything, so I figured I would just videotape the story so you guys would all hear what happened. So yesterday at 10:30, I was walking the dogs, and one of Jack's friends was coming down to the beach. We're renting here in Spring Lake, and he said, I'm 5 minutes away. So I said, okay, great. I'm walking the dogs. I'll put them away, and I'll wake up Jack, which is actually a good thing to note, because otherwise he would have slept till late. And so I think that all things happen for a reason. So I'm kind of giving you all the background information as to why all the events worked. Anyway, I was ready to go down to LBI to go visit my brother, who was visiting some friends in Beach Haven. And sorry, I keep looking at the dogs because I'm on the deck and I don't want them to come off. So I was going in and out of the car in the back. So Kyle gets here, Jack and he are in the kitchen, they're just chatting, and I go to put something in the car, and Kara and Faith were in the driveway picking up their bikes, and I said, good morning. She said, oh, Kara said, you know, does Lily want to go out for breakfast? So I said, yeah, she's asleep, but I'll wake her up. I don't think she'd want to miss out. So I walk in the house, I'm like, come on in. So I go into her room, and she's asleep, but Francesca's up on the trundle. And when I wake Lily up, she kind of went like this, like straight up like this, and kind of stared at me like that. And I should have known that maybe I should have tested her blood sugar at that point, but obviously I didn't know. And I said, Kara and Faith are here. Do you want to go to Tom Bailey's for breakfast? And she said nothing. So Francesca was like, yeah, I want to go. So I send the girls into the room, and I'm in the family room, and I'm just kind of getting ready to leave, which I was planning on leaving at 11 o'clock. So now we're at like 10:55. And Kara said that Lily said, I'm so tired, and kind of like put her neck back like this and kind of did one of these head bobs, and then did it again and like fell forward with slamming into the nightstand. And when she slammed into the nightstand, she kind of hit her head and then fell between the bed and the nightstand, and then the lamp fell on top of her. So she yells to me, Aunt Tina, Lily fell down. So I walk down the hallway to go see what's going on, and she is on the ground in between the bed and the nightstand, like in a very small space, and she has the lamp on top of her, and she's convulsing. So I had never seen that before, and I really didn't know if she was joking, if she was convulsing because she was laughing so hard, or if something was wrong with her. And so I lift the lamp off of her, and I push the table aside, and I turn her over, and she's like pouring blood out of her mouth, and it's mixed with a ton of saliva, and her eyes are wide open, but her eyeballs were like in the back of her head. And I just remember her clenching her mouth, but all this blood and saliva, and she's just convulsing. So much so that it really was the most terrifying experience, because I had never seen that before, and no one had ever given me any advice on what to do with her if she were ever to seize like that. So I realized that she was having trouble breathing, so I started administering CPR, and I didn't know if what I was doing was right, but it just felt like I needed to save her, because her entire face turned very pale, and it was just, when I started doing the mouth to mouth, obviously after I cleared her face of the saliva and all the blood, I realized that she was so clenched that I started doing mouth to nose. And I just, I'm screaming orders. I'm like, Kara, call 911. Faith, go get Jack. Francesca, go get me her diabetes bag. So I get the diabetes tester, and I test her blood sugar probably a minute into her seizure. And she was 71, which, if you know anything about diabetes, that's really not a low number. It's not a concern of mine, but in retrospect, I guess when I had woken her up, she may have been a very low number, which caused the seizure, and that her body was helping her, liver or adrenaline or whatever it was that brought her number to 71, because by the time the cops came, she was now at 95, and then in the ambulance she was 121. So something in her body was helping her recover. So I realized she's still seizing. The paramedics haven't come yet, so I lift the trundle. I kind of push everything aside so she has room to do her convulsing, which I guess what you're supposed to do is clear the airway and turn her on her side, which I have no experience, but I end up doing that because I'm cradling her on her side, and I'm holding her, and I'm just praying. I'm just saying, you know, just praying. It's like all I could do. So and crying and screaming, but anyway, I just feel like everything happened for a reason. The fact that I hadn't yet left for LBI, could have been on the Parkway, the fact that her friends were there, the fact that Jack was up, I feel like everything kind of took form to be there for her. It was a really, truly terrifying experience. But anyway, she does her thing for 5 minutes, and paramedics arrive. They give her oxygen. She's completely, what do you call it, like when you have amnesia? She was very out of it. They tell us we have to go to Jersey Shore Medical. We get in the ambulance, and the first thing we do when we arrive in the ER, they end up giving us a room, and we do a whole round of blood work. Everything came back negative. Then we go for a CAT scan. That came back negative. I guess they were looking to see if there was something wrong with her brain or if she had any kind of epileptic situation, and they decided to admit us, and we get a room on the 5th floor. Everybody was so nice, and they decided to give her an EEG, which monitors her brain activity. So they have all these little tiny sensors all over her brain, and she had like 50 of them. And then she had a like a little hat that she put on, so a lot of kids actually saw that on social media, because I guess Lily thought it was funny, and so I'm sure that's why a lot of people found out about it, because I think Lily, that's her way of communicating through her social media. So that's what that hat was. So she kept that on for 12 hours through the night, and then we had the MRI yesterday afternoon at 3:15. Again, just to look at brain activity, and everything came back normal, so they discharged us. And the conclusion of this is that we feel like the night before she had given too much of her night-acting or her long-lasting insulin, which she gives at night, called Lantus. She's usually supposed to give 28 units, and she thinks she gave 32 or 34 units. And on top of that, her blood sugar at 1:30 in the morning the night before was 134, which is a really good number to go to bed at. And she corrected the blood sugar, plus gave her bolus for, that just means gives insulin for some Tostitos that she had had in a Gatorade. So the lesson learned here is that we need to manage her diabetes a little bit better, and we need to really do things properly. And the way you do things properly is you test your blood sugar before you eat, and you correct the blood sugar, and you calculate what you're going to give for the carbs you eat. So she is supposed to have 1 unit of insulin for every 7 carbs, and we just have to manage it. When I was managing it before she became a teenager and wanted to do it herself, you know, it was managed a lot tighter, but you know, I have to give her a little bit more freedom to manage it herself. But I think that this is just a lesson to just be more aware of what mismanaging her blood sugars can do to a body. And I know that her friends were amazing, but it was a really scary thing for all of them to experience. It was obviously scary for me and Jack to experience. But anyway, I wanted you guys all to know that she's fine, and you know, she doesn't have any kind of brain abnormality, and this really did have to do with her diabetes. And I just want to thank everybody for their emails and calls and texts, and I'm sorry if I didn't call you back or email you back. I tried, but we're good, we're fine. So thank you, everyone.